Hello everyone and welcome again. Today we're going to look at a lick in the style of the great Oscar Peterson. It's from my book 100 Modern Jazz Licks for the Piano. You can buy this at Amazon. It's got lots of other licks in there in the style of other great jazz pianists as well. And please remember to subscribe to my channel. That will be a really good thing, a real help for me if you can subscribe. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, then please buy the book and subscribe. Okay, let's get on. Okay, so here's the lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so Oscar Peterson is one of my all-time favourite pianists. He was quite a bluesy player, so here we're using some notes that belong to the F blues scale, which is this. Also, he used quite a lot of this kind of very stable, happy scale, the pentatonic, the major pentatonic scale. That's the F major pentatonic scale. And it's in the combination of these two scales that we get a lot of really great sounds in the kind of Oscar Peterson vein. So if we look at our first combination here, the first part of the lick, and we get these triplets. And here we're using the major sixth, which is a very pentatonic-y type note. It's almost a corny note, and we have this very bluesy note, the kind of minor third of the scale here, and we combine those two notes, and we get a lot of really great sounds just by combining those two notes, and we're using that in the first part of our lick. So remember that combination of the blue note there and the major pentatonic note there works really well. Other combinations obviously that work well between the major pentatonic and the blues scale are the play between the major and minor third, and of course you get that a lot in blues music and jazz music. So those two things, bear those in mind with your playing if you're trying to get a slightly Oscar Peterson type feel. The next thing that we have in the right hand is this. Now the main notes for this are very major pentatonic-y, so major third, major sixth, and obviously the root note there. But that just sounds too plain, doesn't it? So you kind of knock that blues note on the way through, and suddenly it changes the character of the whole thing. Just the addition of that little knock on that note there. So you get the and you get this typical mix between blues and the pentatonic there. The left hand, well, the first chord, we're using a 2-5-1 progression here, and we're using a voicing for G seventh. We're using a G dominant seventh chord rather than a G minor seventh. The G minor seventh will be more kind of normal because the B flat is part of the scale of F. But here we're making it a dominant seventh. We're taking the guide tones, which are the third of the chord and the seventh of the chord, and we're taking the F and put it on the bottom. We get that just to suggest a G seventh at the beginning of the lick. One little tip here, if you want a 2-5-1 to sound a little bit more bluesy, then just make the 2 chord a dominant chord, and just the addition of that B, obviously the B natural there is part of the blues scale, and it just sounds a little bit more bluesy that way. Okay, so that's the route we've taken for this lick. Okay, now the next exciting thing, really Oscar-y thing that happens is this in the left hand. We've got a C7th chord really, if we had the chord chart here, it would say C7th, but we're not going to play C7th. We're just going to play a C bass note jammed in between, so and also jammed next to this B to give it that's just that extra character. A really typical thing. Oscar Peterson did it all the time. You listen to his recordings, and it just gives a real great rhythmic push just there on the what we call the dominant note, or note 5, and then we're ending up with this slightly gospely sounding ending. It sounds slightly gospely because you've got a chord 4 going to a chord 1. Classical musicians would call that a plagal cadence. It does sound a bit gospely. It springs from kind of hymns which would end amen, that kind of thing. So present in a lot of kind of church music, that sort of thing. So kind of present in gospel music also, but only a hint of it really. Really, you've still got this C ringing in your ears, so you've got that kind of sound. So it is actually a C7th chord with a sustained 4th in it, but a really nice voicing of it. So kind of got that sound going on, quite gospelly. So the combination of the major pentatonic, the blues scale, slightly gospelly sounds will give you quite a good Peterson sound. So yeah, there's the lick. I'll play it one more time slowly so you can get a good idea of it. So here we go. And there's the lick. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel and buy the book, and have a great day.